Hi guys, Stanley Orr here again, and we're back with the script breakdown videos. This one is sequence 3. Let's get right into it. So, scene 24, exterior Earth orbit. You might remember the tallest laughter was fading away as they hatched their stupid plan to go mess with Zim now that Impending Doom 2 is over, and they're bored. Then we sort of fade into this view of Earth. We're high Earth orbit. We see a tiny little white, or like tiny little dot of something orbiting Earth. The camera slowly starts zooming into it, and as it does, it like fades to closer and closer and closer shots, all of them still drifting closer to the thing. This little white dot. And as we get closer, we see, number one, that it's Zim's satellite, like in Bloaty's Pizza Hog, if you remember that episode. And number two, we can faintly hear Zim's laughter fading in, echoing, sort of mirroring the tallest's laughter from the previous scene. We sort of get a parallel there. So it says dissolve too, but maybe cutting to it might be a better transition. Anyways, we cut to inside of Zim's satellite, scene 25. We see that Zim is bent over and like he's like working on something. He's got Irken welding glasses on or something like that. He's hunched over a table. We can't see what he's working on just yet, but like sparks are flying, very dramatic and stuff. Very evil, mad scientist sort of vibe going on, of course, because it's Zim. What else would you expect? And he stands up and like,
yes, at last!
And like, as he says, at last, and holds up, like he dramatically flings off his goggles with one hand, and with the other hand, he holds up a big red button. It's just sort of there. He's like holding it dramatically, and then he turns his attention, after a moment of admiring the button, he turns his attention to Earth in the distant background in the viewport of his window. And he just starts ranting to Earth itself, as if it can hear him, you know?
Do you see this? Do you see this, you pitiful worms? Huh? It is your doom. Yes, your giant, doomy button thing.
He just sort of runs out of words there.
Anyway. Prepare to perish at the hand of Zim!
So as he says that, Zim! And then we get like he aims the button at Earth, and then there's like dramatic music playing, and we get some anime style, action lines whooshing past the camera as we track his finger as it comes down to hit the button. It's all very dramatic and stuff, and then he hits it, and nothing happens. Just some silence for a second.
Eh?
And then he presses again. Still just nothing. And then he just sort of throws the button to the ground in frustration. Clatters to the floor or something. And then after a split second, the escaped spittle runner from the first scene maybe shoots into view from light speed, comes to us like no longer at light speed, but like right past the camera, comes back to normal speed and like starts plummeting to the Earth's surface with the smoke trailing behind it, slowly falling to Earth, rather. And it startles Zim. This whole thing happens all at once, and it startles Zim. And then after he collects himself, he looks out the window, focuses, realizing what he's seeing. Irken ship coming here out of nowhere, falling to Earth.
Oh, so that's what it does. Neat! Wait a minute.
Oh, so that's what it does. Neat! Wait a minute. Like it's just like the logic of the situation just now catches up to him. Anyway, so no, Zim, your button did not summon an Irken ship. He realizes this is just something unforeseen, and his panic and paranoia starts kicking in and just runs off to the other room screaming. And so Zim runs up to the teleporter room, Zim's satellite teleportation room, scene 26. And I'm putting way more continuity into this than Jonan and the crew ever bothered doing, but I don't care. So he dives into one of the mini teleporters to get ready to send him to the surface to his base. But if you remember at the end of Bloody's Pizza Hog, he had cut the power. So the teleporters have been repaired. Zim's definition of repaired. He took some duct tape or the Urkin equivalent and just sort of wrapped it around the tubes and called it a day. So he's sitting there and they're not really teleporting him. And like pressing buttons. Maybe he kicks it or something. And he kicks it, and then suddenly the teleporter activates and like zaps him and painfully teleports him away. Like maybe a trail of smoke left behind after he vanishes. And then we cut down into Zim's base, the equivalent teleportation room down there. Zim zaps into view. Maybe he stumbles and falls to his knees or something for a second. Just like very like smoke trailing off of him and stuff. Maybe some slight ash or something. Ow! He quickly recovers himself though. Like this is no time for freaking out or panicking. And he runs off deeper into the base. And then as he runs off, then we cut to scene 27B. I sort of added this, but I think it'd be kind of cool. So the camera pans up through the cross-section of Zim's base, layer by layer. You know how this cross-section, that looks kind of like the side view of an ant farm, you know? Anyways, so we're panning up through there. And as we're panning up, we see Zim enter and leave rooms left and right as we track him up. And each time he enters and leaves the shot, he's got more and more of his old man disguise on. So like first maybe he's putting on his contact lenses, and then next time we see him the beard is coming on, and then next the hat, and then after that here comes the cloak, you know, and like we can see it coming together until finally scene 28 in Zim's kitchen. He leaps dramatically out of the toilet, and maybe does a superhero landing on top of the toilet or something. Beard disguise on, very, very serious expression on his face. But a very stupid picture if you think about it for more than a second or two. Anyway, scene 29, the living room. We see that Gur's sitting there with Mini Moose. They're watching TV or something. Maybe Gur's munching on some snacks, or maybe not. I don't know. But Gur's sitting there watching TV. Zim runs past them, doesn't even look a second in their direction. He just like, I imagine like the camera's focused facing Gur, and like Zim just goes right past the camera, and the entire time we hear him talking, it's just one still shot of Gur, and we just hear Zim off to the side yammering and barking orders and stuff before he leaves.
Gur, I'm going out to investigate a crash. I have to hurry, else a human might find it. It's an Urkin ship. Keep an eye on the house. Unless I tell you to come get me. Okay, bye.
And then we hear the door shut behind him. Anyways, Gur responds by not responding. He just sort of flips through the television channels absent-mindedly. When we get a close-up on the television, the Angry Monkey Show comes on, and then Gur like stares intently at the TV. I don't know what that sound was, but it just sort of emanates from Gur as he stares at the TV, and we've just dissolved to some random park downtown in the daytime. A tiny oasis. We pan down to the park from above, like looking up at the sun, pan down, see the park, going through some thick, dense tree section or whatever, into a little secluded clearing with like a pond, and you know, a tiny oasis of wildlife. Frogs, birds, dragonflies, sickeningly cute looking animals, maybe some deer and stuff. They're all dancing around. It looks all cute and stuff. Somehow unaffected by the pollution and toxic litter and everything that's infesting the pond or whatever. Anyways, you know, the music's getting happier and happier. It swells. It's like we're about to go into an old school Disney musical or something. And then the Urkin ship crashes into the clearing, straight into the pond, maybe splattering some of the insects or the dragonflies or whatever. Just they're reduced to mist. It's gruesome looking for the insects. Everything, all the other animals just scatter. Fire coming from the ship. Very bad impact and landing. It's amazing that the ship's not in pieces. And flames and sparks everywhere. And then throughout this whole scene, we still don't get a good look. We don't get to see Smoots just yet. We just hear her voice coming from inside of the ship.
Help! 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 It's liquid!
Anyways, I'll interrupt her there for a second just to explain that as she's screaming and stuff, Zim enters the clearing with his old man disguise on, looking very suspicious and very serious, of course.
It burns!
And of course, she's discovering that earth water burns.
Help! It's liquid! It burns! Help!
Zim just looks at her in suspicion before going full Zim. I mean, what do you expect, really?
What business do you have here? I am the one who is to conquer this decaying filth ball of filth, not you or anyone else. I'll bet you even stole that ship too.
Is that you? Oh my goodness! I was right! You are here! Ah! Help me! This liquid is burning my skin!
Of course it is, you fool. But wait a minute. How do you know my name?
She's like, wait a minute, how do you know my name? Very suspicious and stuff. And then after a pause, we realize there's like no sound coming from the ship. Smoots is unseen, of course. She's unconscious at this point, or passed out, or whatever. But she's not responding to Zim anymore.
Answer me! Huh?
Then we hear like police sirens approaching in the distance, and maybe some flashing lights from the other side of the clearing, on the other side of the trees.
The humans, they come.
They come. And then the little pack thing comes out with the microphone, and he summons Gurr.
Gurr, initiate rescue mode.
Yes, sir.
Rescue mode. Interesting choice of words. Out of the sky comes Gurr. A few seconds later, boom, lands in the clearing. When the dust settles and smoke clears, we see Gurr is in his dog disguise, of course. And he turns to Zim, ready for business.
What are your orders, master?
Subjugate the prisoner.
Rescue mode. Subjugate the prisoner. Anyways.
Okie
Okie dokie. So what happens, Gurr dives into the water, crashing through the front of the sinking ship, and maybe it blows up even more, and this causes a splash of water to just hit Zim and burn him. I know, once again, inconsistencies. I know in the show they just sort of forgot the whole water burning him thing, because he like puts on the paste and stuff, but let's just pretend he didn't put on his paste bath today, because it's funnier if Zim gets splashed with some water, makes a wimpy little scream, and then falls into the pond, which is what I've written here.
Oh, Gurr, help me! Help me!
So while Zim's panicking and fluttering around and stuff, Gurr, like he bursts out of the ship with his jetpack legs, and he lands on the shore. We see now that Gurr has got a sack on his across his back. He's got a sack with Smoots in it. We can't see her, of course, but she's in there. And Zim is demanding Gurr help him. I'll just replay that.
Oh, Gurr, help me! Help me!
What's the magic word?
There's no time for that!
Say the magic word, please.
Okay, please! Please help me, Gurr!
Say the magic word. Say it.
Okay, and that's where we'll leave it for this one. Not a very long sequence, but I don't know. They're divided the way they are. So, anyways, looking forward to the next time.